Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matt Leschber, and I am here today with Don Bice. My company is 1836 Property Management. His is VetCore. And this, believe it or not, is kind of our first meet and greet with VetCore. The reason that they came onto our radar was because EPA requirements have gotten, I'll say, more than increasingly difficult. And I've told this story a couple different times, and I hate to harp on it, but the EPA physically, literally walked into our office and threatened us with impeding a federal investigation, started questioning us with no warrant, and we never did anything wrong. We said, why'd you end up at our office? They said, oh, South Congress had a few of you guys, so we just thought we'd make it easy because we're from Dallas and El Paso was too far to drive.
Got it.
So that was a real unpleasant experience a handful of years ago. Since then, the regulations have all gotten more difficult, more arduous. And if you own a property that was built before 1978, you have a little dilemma to face. And you may not, or you may want to face it, but eventually properties need maintenance, and you're going to have to do some work. Now, you can put that off as long as you can, but you really need to know what you're doing, make smart choices. And when it is time for that maintenance, choose providers that can do it right, document it, and keep us all out of the government's crosshairs. Because the attorney that I called when I was getting threatened told me she could brush up on that regulation for $20,000. And she was the one that I was referred to. Yeah. So y'all know that the government will be happy to take you on for free. And it's just not something that you're going to win at. So you want to stay away from any challenges you have. Companies like VetCore are the vendors that help us keep you as an owner out of invisible risks. So one of our things is we help you reduce visible and invisible risk. And I am telling you, if you know it or not, the EPA is an invisible risk to you as an investor. So that's our job, is to help you avoid it. So since this is our first meet and greet with Don, I'm going to just ask him some questions, get to know him, and you're going to get to know him at the same time. And hopefully if you have any questions afterward, we'll make sure that once we edit this video, his contact information is on here. All of our clients know that they can reach out directly to our vendors. Should they just say, hey, I'm an engineer and this didn't sound right, can we discuss it? Well, of course, we all are here to learn and share, and we've got to be transparent. So we'll provide that for you at the end of the video today once it's done with editing. So Don, tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got here, why you're in the business that you're in.
Sure. So it's actually sort of a fourth career for me, if you will, on that side. So I grew up in Northeast Texas, and it only took me 27 years to get back. I moved back to Austin from California in 2015. So I'm a native Texan, so not completely a transfer, if you will, from that standpoint. Had been in tech before, had been in finance before, former military officer in the Army, and had done a lot of different things on that side. Retired early and found after a couple of years that it was way too early to retire. Both my wife and I had some health related issues that we got through, and part of it was, hey, look, we know we don't have time to waste. We need to go for broke and take risks going forward. I typically been a big corporate guy on that side with that security blanket. And so we said, okay, sort of when we were young, never had the guts to start our own businesses and be entrepreneurs. This is the time to do it. So between the two of us, we are service disabled, veteran-owned small businesses. We have VetCore of Central Texas, which does water, mold, smoke, fire, lead, remediation, demo on that, primarily on both single family and multifamily residential from that side. We are an emergency restoration contractor, and my wife actually runs our storage solutions business, which is garage cabinets. It is home offices, Murphy beds, and closets. So we've got some synergy and some complementary businesses there on that side, even though they're separate from that end. So VetCore of Central Texas, we really started because, hey, there's a pain point that both property management folks feel and homeowners feel, and that is with vendors. What's the time window? Are they going to show up today? If they say it's between 10 and 4, do I have to take the day off from work to be there? If I call someone this evening and I've got water pouring out of my second story, am I going to have to wait until next week to get somebody out to fix it? So in that particular circumstance, we really adhere to, as former soldiers and most of our folks are from that standpoint, and I am, who do you want to hire in a crisis? And one of those answers could possibly be a veteran that's going to be on time. We set a actual appointment time. So if I say I'm going to be there at 1 o'clock, that doesn't mean 3:30 or 4. So I'm going to be there on time, polite, prompt, in uniform, and fit and ready to fight from that standpoint. So I run it as a military organization from that side. And that's what we adhere to. So it's really based on a differentiation of service in that regard. We are,
Go ahead.
yes, sir.
No,
No,
go ahead,
please,
please.
go ahead. So we are IICRC certified, and anybody that you use for any sort of mitigation should have that certification. So emergency restoration contractors are not regulated. And so it's basically self-governing rules. And what do you get when you're out there? Even if you hire one of the names that you would know in emergency restoration services, because of the advertising, you're really getting a local office, and you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to get the 22-year-old guy that started 3 weeks ago and thinks he knows a little bit about what to do, and they send him out with some dryers. You don't know what you're going to get in terms of response time, et cetera. We're on basically a 2-hour string, 24/7, if that's what you guys decide you want to do with us on that side. I am fully compliant with essentially all carriers. Should you have owners that need to file a claim on insurance to cover larger losses from that side, they find that it's going to be beyond the reserve that they typically have for repairs, et cetera, and they want to make an emergency claim because it's a water loss, or it's a wind loss, or a mold claim, something like that. Although most people don't have it for mold, obviously. We can handle pretty sizable mold related jobs as well. I can't say the word mold. I have to use suspected microbial growth on that end. But we are certified with the EPA RRP, which is a lead contractor, whether that be full remediation from that standpoint and removal, or whether it simply be encapsulation, which is always another option. Because remember, with lead, as long as you don't disturb it and you don't have dust, it's like it never even happened. Right?
Correct.
Well, so it's when you get into disturbing it, either through demo because you have to, or demo because you want to, that you run into a problem on that side. And we're delighted to handle any and all inbound stuff from you folks for that. I want to also preface that just because it's a 1978 house or before, it may or may not have lead from that standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, more work's been done in the past.
Totally agree.
Long explanation, but please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, the lead situation is really the reason that we ran across each other, because as we're tightening what we do and trying to be in compliance to keep our owners in compliance, you guys are one of, if not, one of the very few people in our area that adapt to what we need as property management companies and are certified to do lead. There's a million people out there that say that they'll fix your stuff. But when it comes down to who will deal with government regulations, well, I can tell you that somebody that's been in the military is probably pretty familiar with government regulations and can handle that red tape for you.
A little bit, yes.
And it's got to be recorded, documented on your level, on my level as a property manager, and stored for the owner as well for years. So it's not just, did you get the seal? It's, did you do the work right? And I don't think these owners understand how strenuous some of these are. If an EPA vendor walks on site, they ask you for a paper copy of your certificate, not even electronic. I mean, they could Google you, but that's not good enough. So there's all these oddities to it that we just have to have somebody who can execute it properly, do the work, and that's it. When it comes to the insurance, you mentioned a lot of things about whether you're compliant with the insurance companies and whether you can serve some of that work. I will say one note for our owners that as a process or a method, if you have remediation needs in our area, we're going to send out someone to start drying and removing water, because that is the first rule. And then we're going to send you a bid. And we have owners almost 3/4 of the time they go, wait, that's too much money. And we go, okay, let's just stop. You're not paying. Like, I understand you don't want to waste money. We don't want to waste money, but the insurance company, once you pass the deductible, is paying this. Our objective in that rule is to protect your property that you paid all that insurance money for. So when we have a vendor that's trustworthy, reliable, and is working, let's go. Let's go. It's whether your whatever your deductible is, it is, and we're going to blow past that pretty quick when we start talking about big water damage. And so I would caution owners, obviously don't pick somebody unreliable, but don't try to penny pinch when it's going to be a deductible for you and you want the work done right. Just get it done right. That's what you pay the insurance for. If you spent 5 days arguing with us about $500 or $2,000, it's not going to make a difference at the end of the day. And then you've wasted time and your property's in worse shape, which could result in them denying some claims. So don't give them that opportunity. So how long have you guys been in this business? What year did you start?
We're 2021 on that side. Pardon me for the noise. I apologize for that. Part of it is I kind of looked through life and trying to figure out what businesses that we wanted to own. We wanted to do something that helped people because we didn't have to go into business. So if we did something, we wanted to be fulfilling from that side. We wanted to help out folks in a time of crisis. I'm also a battalion commander in the Texas State Guard, so I'm a bit of a disaster junkie from that standpoint because I love going out and helping people out when it's a really bad day for them. And even if that's, for me, it's routine and maybe like a day in the park for some of these home-related problems. I understand with investors, it's a little bit one step removed. You're looking at it from a more economic standpoint oftentimes than, purely emotional as if it were your actual residence but you hit on something excellent, Matt. These problems do not get better with time, particularly when you live in somewhere like Texas, where we're prone to getting some mold. It may not be the big, bad, dangerous mold of lawsuit fame from that standpoint. And typically these are pretty small in terms of overall microbial growth, but you have 72 hours of your humidity in that area being above 60% relative humidity. You're looking at an incubation period and you're going to have some at that point. So to what you said in support of it, the faster, the better in terms of any sort of water mitigation.
That's perfect. So we're gonna reach out to you guys for things like all these emergencies and water and everything else. But speaking to just the topic, because I want to make sure, you guys are one of the few people that do the lead, and that's a big deal for us at this moment.
Of course.
Have you learned anything through your hands-on experience working with pre-1978 homes that you would just like to pass along to owners as a couple, maybe these, couple bullet points of advice: do this, don't do that, or here's a story, that's short or anything like that?
Mm-hmm. As I mentioned before, it may or may not be a factor. If it is there, it does require, as you mentioned, a specialty contractor that's certified to pull it out. Although you can certainly find no shortage of folks out there, not through you, but just in general for folks that own properties, because I realize that 1836, you obviously vet all your preferred vendors from that side. But you'll find a lot of people that are willing to do some of this work and, just kind of blow through those regulations. That sets up the homeowner for a huge liability on the lead side down the road, because really all that would take is one tenant there that decides they want to push it and brings it up to the city on that side and get you in a lot of trouble from that standpoint. Same thing with regard to microbial growth, frankly. Those are kind of hand in hand, that and lead. If you have any kind of hazmat substance, you want to be sure that you're hiring the contractor that's handling it appropriately, that they are getting it bagged, that they are putting in containment is a very big deal in this business, as well as negative air pressure. Just about any job that we're doing, we're putting in negative air pressure there, which is with HEPA scrubbers, to make sure that we maintain a safe environment overall.
Perfect. And, I'm going to add to that as well, is if we have a resident that we've moved out or that's not there, which we'd much prefer them not be present at all,
Certainly.
however we get to that point, so that we're not doing work on occupied properties. However, all it takes is one neighbor to be not even angry, but concerned. And if they go to a website and put in a concern, the government's going to show up. And so I would really caution all investors against disturbing lead and doing things inappropriately, because you are legally required to disclose those. And the risk is not worth the benefit to try to hide things like this, because the attorneys and the lawsuit money would eat you alive if it ever came back, and could ruin you, versus simply doing it right the first time and sleeping well at night. And so, Don, give us a little bit of your contact information. Where can people find you if they wanted to talk to you directly?
Sure. So you can reach me at, you can reach us at vetcoreaustin.com. That's VETCOR Austin.com. I can be reached directly at 512-448-1002, 512-448-1002. That's Team VetCore here in Austin. And you can also email me at D as in Don, Bice, B as in boy, ICE at vetcoreservices.com.
Perfect. Well, we'll make sure that we put that in the closing once this is edited. Don, I really want to just thank you for your time. I'm hoping that our customers, other customers outside, whether they use our company or not, and our staff really get to know you, and that this gives them the confidence that, hey, even if they don't know you yet, they could call you and just have a conversation. We just stress it so much that we all live so divided now in our own trenches, and we really need to get out and just talk. And if you have questions, ask the questions. And if you don't get the answers, keep asking. And it's okay to learn. It's okay to ask. And we don't have to, not everyone is out to get you. And some of us are just in business to do a good job and be in business and be successful and make other people successful. And that's why we're here. And so we're open. I feel like you're in the same way. And I urge people to give you a call if they just want to talk through a problem they're having, so that they can feel like they've got somebody that they can have confidence in.
Absolutely. So I have owned and had rental properties on my own for myself as well. Excuse me. And so I know what goes into that. I know the worry when HVAC or something else goes out, or you have another problem where it's a broken pipe under the kitchen sink. So understand, I've been on both sides of the table here, and I'm be delighted to help out anybody that is with 1836 or any of your clientele.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time, Don. We'll cut the recording here, and we'll put up your contact information in case anybody missed it. And I'll be sure and share this with everybody on our team immediately in the raw version, so that they can get to know you a little bit better. And we look forward to working with you for years to come.
Thanks, Matt. We are delighted at the opportunity. We appreciate it very much.
Great. Have a good afternoon.
You too, sir. We'll see you.
Bye-bye.